The release of the WWE Network happened, and yes, I am having a lot of fun with it, but I'm going to save my review of the network for a later day because I really want to, there's so much to talk about as far as the network goes. I can mention, as it pertains to Raw, that they had a pre-show, their first ever pre-show that I guess will be weekly, and I liked it. It was a half hour. You saw Josh with Booker T, Ric Flair, Alex Riley, and I like it. It's pretty much like how they do it on the pay-per-view. The actual Raw show starts with a bang. Hulk Hogan returns to Raw. I can't think of the last time Hogan was on Raw, but look, you're going to have people say they don't like Hogan. And maybe even a time or two I might have said negative things about Hogan, but that's mostly because of what you hear about him backstage or what some wrestlers say about him. I've heard some pretty bad stories about Hogan, the way he treated people, WCW, but I have to admit, seeing him return to WWE, seeing him on Raw with the real American music, the red and yellow clothes, I geeked out. I was like, wow, it's Hogan. And he still looks pretty good. He looks a lot better. He's walking a lot better than he ever did in TNA. So he's in better shape. I don't want to see him wrestle, but having him in a non-wrestling role is what's best for business. First match of the night, Alberto Del Rio versus Batista in a rematch from the Elimination Chamber. I admit I wasn't really caring to see this match again, but I thought it was interesting because it seemed like at least one of the first times I saw Batista react to the boos. He came out, he pointed to the sign that said Boo Tista, and he was embracing it. And yeah, they booed him the whole time. Then Randy Orton comes out, distracts him, Alberto gets the pin. I was surprised that they let Alberto get that win. I'm like, wow, Batista, they've made untouchable, and they gave him his first loss since coming back. And then Orton pretty much talks trash and says how nobody likes him and all this stuff, how Batista probably regrets coming back. That might be true. And look, I don't like Batista main eventing WrestleMania, but I also feel bad because I don't hate the guy. And I don't mind that he's back in general, it's just don't be in the title picture right now. It's too soon, it's too early. And then Batista tries to reassure that it's okay if he gets booed, he'll embrace it, but I don't know, seeing the way how he reacts to getting booed, I can tell he doesn't like it. Then we had Big E versus Cesaro. Great match. This match was awesome. I didn't know who was going to win. The spot where Big E went for the leapfrog and Cesaro caught him in midair, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Wow. Swagger, for some reason, comes in the ring and does the ankle lock. And then he apologized for it after because it got Cesaro disqualified. And I'm sitting there like, you didn't know that you were going to get disqualified for doing that? I'm assuming that it might set up the Real Americans to break up. I'm hoping that WrestleMania we see a triple threat match. John Cena comes out and he finally addresses what the Wyatts have been doing, costing him title shots. The Wyatts come out, Bray talks for a little bit, and then they attack Cena. Now, I didn't notice it the first time, but then when they replayed it, you could see when Eric Rowan grabbed Cena's leg and dropped him that it looked like Cena got injured. And it looked pretty serious. And I bought that he was injured and he might miss WrestleMania. I was debating all of this. And then I look online after and they say that, oh, it was a work. And I'm like, really? This was a work? If it was a work, then maybe this is their way of, let's have Cena appear to be injured into this match with Bray Wyatt. I know you hear me trash Cena sometimes, but that doesn't mean I ever want to see anyone get injured. Not like that, not before WrestleMania. So that sucks. We'll see what the real situation is, though, hopefully next week. Sheamus versus Christian in a hell of a match. Great match, and they gave them a lot of time to just go at it. And I really didn't know who was going to win. Christian, I love Christian as a heel. He's a lot better, he's more aggressive. Sheamus, though, got the win. Then we see backstage, actually this was during the app, so they re-showed it, where Triple H and Stephanie come in. Daniel Bryan just starts yelling out of nowhere about how he's being screwed, he won't get a shot, and he'll fight Triple H. Triple H laughs at him and pretty much laughs him off. and Stephanie tells him he has a match tonight with Kane. Then we see the Shield backstage, and Reigns and Rollins don't believe Ambrose's excuse on what happened at the Chamber. And then the Wyatts come in, and Reigns challenges Bray Wyatt to a match later that night. I was looking forward to that. Daniel Bryan defeats Kane. Now, it's a little weird that Kane is the director of operations. He's been the corporate Kane for a while, and he hasn't wrestled until... Well, yeah, he wrestled last week, and that just beat up Daniel Bryan situation. But here was a real match. And it's weird that Kane hasn't been in action, and he returns to action like this on Raw, just randomly to get beat by Bryan. I don't really understand what they're going to do with Kane. But it was a great match. It was a great match. This Raw had a lot of great matches, almost as if they felt like they had to compensate from the pay-per-view, which I didn't hate the pay-per-view, but there you go. Bryan afterwards says, look, he wants to fight Triple H at WrestleMania, and everyone's chanting yes, yes. And what I think of that is, okay, if it happens, okay, it won't be bad, but that's not the spot that I want Daniel Bryan to be in. I know it's like, do you want to see Bryan fight Orton again for the title? I know that doesn't sound hugely appealing either, but I needed Bryan to win the belt at WrestleMania. I think that desperately needed to happen. Not just because of the crazy reactions that he gets week after week, because that's a lot to do with it, but the storyline that they've been planning on 6 months of him getting screwed out of the title. It's like, how is him winning the belt at WrestleMania not the payoff? Even Mick Foley tweeted basically the same thing. And it's like, yeah, at this point, if he ever does win the belt, will we care? It's not at WrestleMania. I guess he'll be fighting Triple H. So then Emma beat Summer Rae in her first Raw match. And again, I like Emma. I've said this before. She's so quirky and goofy. I love her dance. I love that the fans are getting into the dance. Yeah, it's weird, and it's a little surprising that it's catching on, because people could have just been like, really? What the hell is this? But again, I like Emma. She got the win. The Usos have quite possibly one of the quickest matches on Raw. They defeat the New Age Outlaws non-title. I don't really know why we did this. For time, sure, but why are we gonna keep the Usos in the title picture? Then that's a good thing. But it's weird. It's weird how they couldn't beat them at the Chamber, but they beat them so easily tonight. In fact, the crowd wasn't really even cheering for the Usos because of them interrupting Road Dogg doing his awesome thing that he does. So that's a tricky situation, but if the Usos do win the belts at WrestleMania, it will be worth it. Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. This was another great match. I was disappointed that the crowd wasn't as into it as they should have been. I wasn't expecting the reaction at the Chamber, because that was just, who could have expected the reaction the Shield versus Wyatt's got. But watching just them chanting, like, what, JBL, I think they were chanting, Michael Cole I heard chants of, and just random chants, I just thought, wow, like, guys, this is actually a good match. Give these guys, these two are the future, you know? But, of course, the Wyatts come out, interfere. Rollins does, out of nowhere, he comes out and does that flip over the ropes. I actually can't wait for Rollins to go out in zone. I know everyone's talking about Reigns and Ambrose, but Rollins, the high-flying moves that he can pull off, I'm looking forward to his singles run. Ambrose comes out to show that he still is with the Shield for now. And I wouldn't even mind if we kept this feud going. It's not going to go on for that much longer, obviously. And you can tell they're building again for the Shield to break up. But I love how they're doing it. It's not obvious. It's not like you don't know when the breaking point is or how that's going to happen. The last segment of the night, we saw Brock Lesnar come out with Paul Heyman, and they were talking about how Brock deserves a title shot. In some ways, I agree with it. I'd rather see it anyways. And they said, if we're not going to get the title shot, then we're not interested in WrestleMania. Out comes The Undertaker. Wow. The rumors, yeah, were there that he was going to be there, but when I saw a picture recently of Undertaker and how old he looked, gray hair and all, I just thought, maybe it's time. But I don't know what happens when he dyes the beard he looks 20 years younger. And he comes out, and it's the music, it's the atmosphere. There's nothing like seeing The Undertaker, that character, that presence. And Undertaker challenges Brock for WrestleMania. That hasn't happened, at least in the last few years. Usually it's somebody chasing the streak, but this time it's Undertaker saying, I want you. And I find it interesting, too, that Brock looked a little afraid. And I didn't think of it until I saw them face-to-face, where these two have wrestled before, but Brock has never faced Undertaker like this. The Phenom, the Lord of Darkness, the evil, classic Undertaker character. The last time they fought, Undertaker was the American Badass, and Brock kind of destroyed Undertaker, especially in that Hell in a Cell match. So seeing him face-to-face with Undertaker like this for the first time, and Brock being a little apprehensive about the situation, and the way how Undertaker stabbed him in the hand with the pen, it was great. Chokeslam through the table. I loved it. Is this the match I wanted to see Taker have at this year's WrestleMania? No. I wanted Sting, but who knows what's going on with Sting, if he's even signed or what. I'm willing to take this match. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. This might be the best match of the night, the most anticipated match of the night. So guys, that's my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. Next week they're going to be in Chicago. I wonder if the CM Punk chants will be loud that night. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Raw. Like and subscribe. Later!